I feel very good today. I woke up this morning here in this hotel, and I said to myself, this is going to be a good day. And I came down and I set some goals for myself. I said, today I'm going to meet some new people, and I have. I said, today I'm going to learn some new things that I had not thought about previously for my career or my life, and I have. And at this point, I can say it is so far a success. Is the attitude a choice? It is a choice. My topic today with you is real-world solutions for bad attitudes in the workplace. When I found out that this was the topic that I had the honor of presenting to you today, I was so pleased. I said to myself, this is a subject that I know much about. I could talk about bad attitudes all day long. Now, I've shared with you that today I have a good attitude, and I made that choice. But I've found out along my path in life that bad attitudes are everywhere. Everywhere. In the last couple of years, I've been working in a couple of different fields. First, I've been teaching. I taught at a large university called the University of Texas at Austin. That university has about 50,000 students. And I used to teach a class called business law. And as you can imagine, many of my students came to that class so happy and enthusiastic with a good attitude. They said, I want to learn about business law. Tell me about contracts and torts. Since my university was so large, though, my classes would have about 200 students in each class, about the size of the room today. And out of that group, there would actually be, it's hard to believe, some students with bad attitudes. I always would ask at the beginning of the semester, why are you taking this class? Why did you make the choice to come here today? Some of them would tell me, because I want to learn. And some of them would look at me and say, because it's required. It's mandatory to graduate my degree, and that's why I'm here. That's okay. I encountered these bad attitudes teaching. I have another job that I've done for about the last 5.5 years. I'm an attorney down in Texas where I live, got a little tiny law firm. And I have lots of different types of customers or clients. I have handled over my career lots of criminal defense work. It's where my customers have been accused of a crime that I'm certain they did not commit. Some of those customers, though, when I would meet them in the jail, typically at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning where they've been arrested, and it's my job to get them out, did some of my customers have bad attitudes? I couldn't believe it. I thought you should be happy to see me. I'm here to get you out. And still, bad attitudes. I had one customer one night. He'd been accused of some burglaries. I went to meet him, and he looked at me. We met for the very first time, of course, there in the jail. And he said, "You're my lawyer. I want a real lawyer." Bad attitude. And then I go out in the last couple of years, and I start training and consulting. And I go to different types of companies. Last year, I was on the road over 200 days last year. I work with federal agencies, lots of federal agencies up in Washington, D.C. I've worked with HUD, Housing and Urban Development. I'm working with ATF. I've worked with National Park Service and National Institutes of Health. I've been to Marine bases and Air Force bases. I'm going to an Army base. And I said to myself, well, these federal employees, they should have good attitudes. Good attitudes. Got a good job. Got job security. Got good benefits. Did I see bad attitudes? Oh, my goodness. My goodness. I train on lots of things that are mandatory. I train on lots of things like the sexual harassment. I train on things like leadership skills and how to fire someone legally. Just last week, I was in Washington, D.C., training some happy, I thought, federal employees. They came into sexual harassment training, and I actually heard one of them say this when they walked in the room. Sexual harassment training. Is this hands-on? Bad attitude. So some of the real world solutions I've seen Because I went to private companies. I've been at computer companies. I've been at companies in the food industry. I was at Quaker Oats. I've got lots of different clients. And everywhere I go, I see bad attitudes. One of the things that we're going to use as a real-world solution is the idea of choices. My attitude, your attitude, our attitude is a choice. It absolutely is. And I understand very clearly some of the consequences of bad attitudes in your work environment. What are some of the things that happen when you have a coworker, a team member, or a supervisor who has a nasty, bad attitude? Have any of you in the room ever worked with someone who's a whiner? Whiners are people who come to work, you see them in the morning, you say, "Good morning." And they say, "What's good about it?" These are people who say things like, "Another day, another dollar. They don't pay me what I'm worth here. I can't believe I didn't get the parking space I wanted." Never happy, never happy, never happy. The whiners, is that a choice? Yes. Now I have a question. I cannot provide a solution for any problem in life unless I understand what causes it. Why do these people whine? Why are they unhappy? Okay. Well, whose responsibility is it for my happiness? Atlanta. Now wait a minute. This topic is so near and dear to my heart because I had the opportunity to grow up in a family. My family has some people with bad attitudes. I know. And when I listen to people who have bad attitudes and who are unhappy, they will explain to me it's not their fault. They're victims. Things in life didn't go the way they wanted. The weather's bad. Why didn't they get that promotion? And they turn around the situation and they look at the world where they're a victim and they don't have a choice. And that's how they feel. How do you feel when you get the opportunity to work with one of these people who are whiners, who are negative? Do you look forward to seeing me? No. What are some of the consequences of my bad attitude at work? What do I actually impact? Productivity. Typically, I have a bad attitude. I'm not too productive. What else do I impact? Morale, yeah. Maybe other people came to work with a good attitude. They woke up like I did today and they said, "Oh, it's going to be a good day." And then they got to work. Ran to the person with the bad attitude. Morale, productivity, what else? Health. Is it stressful working with that negative, whiner, unhappy, complainer? It's stressful. It was stressful living with them when I grew up with them. My health. Do they impact our organization in dollars? Yes, they absolutely, positively do. And do they have any impact at all in my other job as an attorney? How do bad attitudes have an impact in things like lawsuits? What is the cause of lawsuits in this country? Oh, I love it. Many times people say, well, lawsuits in this country are because people are greedy. People want money, and that's why they file lawsuits. And some people do. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm giving you real-world solutions, so we're keeping it real. There are some people who really do think our legal system is a lotto. And I know because I've met them, and they've come to my law office and said, "Oh, I heard about that lady who went to McDonald's and had hot coffee spill on her, and she got money. I need money too." But unfortunately, in real life, lawsuits, you don't file them and receive a check very quickly. Lawsuits take a long time, I mean years, to resolve. And what fuels lawsuits, what starts them and what keeps them going, is bad attitudes and emotion. People who are unhappy, remember, they're victims. This is the group that's most likely to feel angry and frustrated and resentful. So even if they were fired, for instance, for a valid reason, like not coming to work on time, in their mind, it's just one other thing where life is treating them unfairly. The bad attitude group self-identifies early on at your organization. And what we need to do is in every single process of an employment cycle, we're going to look for the bad attitudes and we're going to use the tools that we need to, because we know bad attitudes have productivity, morale impacts. They have health impacts on our team members. And honestly, I cannot be any more blunt. That is the group that files lawsuits. So what are we going to do? In the interview portion, What's our goal when we're interviewing for a new position at our organization? What's our goal? What's your goal? You want to find somebody to work with you. Do you want to hire the best people with good attitudes? Or can you just sort of hire whoever, and then once you get them on board, you'll train them and fix them? If you take the attitude that some of my client companies say to me, we got to staff up. We'll just hire whoever, and then we'll train them and fix them. That's analogous to you marrying whoever and then trying to fix them and train them. It does not work. It does not work. And I know that. My other job, divorce. All right. I've got to find people with good attitudes. And so what I'm going to do in my interview portion is I'm going to pay attention. I'll use the techniques that we've all learned in the appropriate management training about asking open-ended questions. And here are some situations. I had a client of mine. They said, I had a potential team member come in for an interview at our company. The person's clothes were on inside out. What does that tell me about that applicant? We can say it, they have a lack of attention to detail. This is a person whose attitude in terms of paying attention to things might not be the best for our organization. Remember, in the interview, that's supposed to be the best them. If the person in the interview starts complaining about their last job, is that a good sign? No! See, we're going to be vigilant because we understand that bad attitudes are out there and they want to come work for us. We're going to keep them out. I'll use my interview portion. I will also, once I hire someone, what's one of the most important skills and what's one of the most important tools and opportunities to reinforce the good attitudes of my new employees? There's something that should occur very soon after someone starts working at our company. Orientation. Orientation. I was with one of my client companies, a casino, and we were training, I believe, 800 of their employees. And we were talking about very important issues like sexual harassment policy and leadership skills. And I kept telling the team members in the training, you need to go to HR if you feel you're not being treated fairly. You need to go to HR if you think a coworker has violated your rights. And I got to break, and I had a big group of people come up to me. And they said, you've been mentioning this HR place all day long. We need to know, where is it? I understand that most of the time when we focus on our bad attitudes, we all tend to talk about them, other people. As I get ready to close, it is incredibly important that we take some time, and today would be a good opportunity, to ask ourselves, do we have a bad attitude? Are we complainers? Do we put ourselves in the victim mentality? Are we making the choice to be unhappy, unproductive, and have poor morale? Because the honest truth in life is that change is possible. I explained to you early on that I make the choice, and I do actually every day. I say to myself, it's going to be a good day. Set some goals. And at the end of the day, I say, I made it. It was a good day. But I wasn't always like this. I used to be a complainer and a whiner. I used to play victim. And I had one key term that's a tool to help us in the real world, and the word is perspective, that helped me learn to change my attitude. And what happened is I had 2 deaths in my life. And the first death was of my grandmother. My grandmother had 6 children. And my grandmother lived her entire life of almost 80 years with a bad attitude. My grandmother was an unhappy person. And in her unhappiness, did she lash out at other people? Yeah, that's right, because we know they affect our health at work, they affect our health at home. And I went to that funeral with all her children, all 6 of them, and all her grandchildren. And the honest truth is, her bad attitude, does it leave a legacy even after she died? The sad thing was, many of the people at the funeral didn't even shed a tear because she made a choice throughout her entire life at work and at home to create that bad, negative environment, to cause pain on other people because that's what they want to do. And after that funeral, I said to myself, I have a choice. I have a life. And every day, I can live it this way and leave a legacy when I go, like this. Or I can turn things around. And I went to a second funeral of a great aunt of mine who was actually like a grandmother to me. And this woman made a choice every day in her life to have a good attitude, even though she was a diabetic from a young age and had to have daily injections of insulin several times a day. Even though later in her life she battled blindness, amputation, complete kidney failure, daily dialysis, and 2 bypass surgeries for her heart. The last time I saw her, she was on a stretcher. And as she rolled by me, she just had kept fighting. She had kept fighting, and she kept smiling. And there as she went by, I told her, I said, I love you so much. Because she'd been this role model for me about that choice, even with all of that. And she looked at me and she said, I know. And then she told me that I was one of the best friends she'd ever had in her life. We all have choices about our attitude. The consequences are real. The change can happen at any time in our life. I cannot think of a more important topic. I would like the opportunity to meet you and to work with you at your organization on this topic or any other. It's been a pleasure. I hope you have a great day, and I thank you for your time.